Creamer Media's Mining Weekly is interviewing Bradley Reddy, the General Manager for Growth Strategy of Richards Bay Minerals, the Rio Tinto Group company that mines mineral sands in South Africa's KwaZulu-Natal province. Hi, Bradley. It's great to be able to chat to you. At the media briefing earlier this month, James Cummins said the Kangela Emoyeni wind farm power price agreement, or the PPA, was completed in what he considered to be a record time. Why do you think this was so?
This was successful by having like-minded partners who shared the same values. And the level of trust and the frank, open discussions allowed us to be able to conclude the PPA negotiations in a much more pragmatic approach. And having our lenders there as well enabled us to really knock out a deal within a very short space of time, including getting financial close as well.
What are some of RBM's most important considerations going into a PPA to ensure long-term value?
So for us, firstly, RBM, part of the Rio Tinto Group, wanted to ensure that as a energy-intensive company, which consumes an average of 1.8 terawatts of power per annum, we effectively were able to mitigate to a large extent our carbon emissions, and our electricity consumption comprises about 80% of our carbon emissions, with the balance of 20% resulting from our process. And at the same time, we wanted to address power, which is one of our largest cost elements that we currently incurring at the moment. So with global competitiveness being quite key for us, the sustainability of the business to enable us to go into the green transition was meant to be done in a way that's not only cost effective, but maintaining that security of supply. So for us, those were key elements to deliver long-term value for the business.
And what were RBM's criteria for the selection of the partners?
We went through the process, and it was a competitive tender that we released, and we had a very rigorous process. We looked at the technical and commercial aspects. A couple of the key areas which we focused was the reputation and capability of the IPP, the cost of the tariff they were proposing, the location of the project, the shovel readiness, the technology and generation profile as well was very key for us.
And this is RBM's second concluded PPA. What are some of the lessons learned so far in brokering renewables agreements?
So for us, our first PPA was the Bolobedu solar farm in Limpopo with Voltalia. And I would say as a business and as a group, we've come a long way in understanding the markets. We've developed our carbon abatement strategy, working with our advisors, and continue to assess the key assumptions. So we found the market to be quite fluid, and I think from a buyer perspective has improved quite a bit. The benefits of government relaxing certain legislation and encouraging private partners to participate in solving the energy crisis was key to really helping us progress. The market has evolved, and partnering with advisors was one of the key things from a success factor perspective.
How is your project team at RBM composed? We understand it falls within your growth strategy mandate, but what core competencies reside within it, and what is the team's scope?
The project was largely led by our energy management department. It's not a large department, but resourced with really skilled and talented individuals. So our focus is not only on improving our energy consumption, but how do we also decarbonize as well? And so with the skills we have within RBM, we supplemented some of the technical and legal and commercial resources from the Rio Tinto Group that really supported us throughout the process. So being part of Rio Tinto, we were able to leverage on the areas of expertise across the globe to be able to support us on the project. And for us, I think that was quite key because our local team and our local advisors had a good understanding of the markets. However, the global technical skills came in business advisory as well. So as a collective, from a Rio perspective, we're able to deliver this project. And I think we were able to also ensure that we balanced the commercial and the technicals to ensure that even from an IPP perspective, we were able to close the deal and have a mutually beneficial PPA.
And can you talk about some of the other strategies planned or in place at RBM to reduce Scope 1 and Scope 2 greenhouse gas emissions?
Rio Tinto subscribes to the Paris Agreement. And as a business, we want to focus on reducing our carbon emissions by 50% in 2030 and carbon neutral by 2050. So from our point of view, setting up and developing our carbon strategy was quite key to understand, firstly, the regulatory framework, and then, what are the challenges within the current markets that we operate in. So looking at where RBM is located within the KwaZulu-Natal region, we felt that most of our renewable penetration will come through a wheeling framework. And we looked at those projects that were sort of shovel ready and be able to be negotiated and closed off. There obviously is grid constraints across the market, as everyone's well aware. And we want to be one of the first movers to be able to capture this opportunity to decarbonize the business. So as we increase our renewable penetration, we obviously will look at storage options as well. We are looking at on-site renewable options, and how do we sort of partner with other companies as we increase our renewable penetration to get to net zero. So we have got a multifaceted carbon abatement strategy that will leverage on the current resources, and then as the markets evolve, make sure that we're able to capture those opportunities as well.
As large consumers of energy, mining companies are showing their commitment to reducing the load on the national grid through renewables. What would be your advice to your peers in mining companies yet to pursue a PPA?
I guess the important thing is to build your strategy alongside your goals of what the business wants to achieve, and then identify what resources and opportunities reside within the current markets. We do see the markets evolving, and I think with the number of aggregators that's likely to come up in the next, I would say, 6 to 18 months, there'll be further opportunities where there could be shorter offtakes as well. So it's important to get advisors that understand the current market and be able to give you the necessary direction that you need to develop your strategy, because some of the offtakes could be 5 to 20 years, right? And you want to ensure that these sort of contracts are aligned with your broader business strategy and give you the agility that you actually require.
That was Creamer Media's Mining Weekly interviewing Bradley Reddy, the General Manager for Growth Strategy of Richards Bay Minerals, the Rio Tinto group company that mines mineral sands in South Africa's KwaZulu-Natal province.